The silent graveyard. The galaxy was wide and endless, full of stars that burned with ancient fire. But in one forgotten corner, there was silence. A graveyard of ships drifted there, broken hulks of war machines, each one carrying the memory of battles long past. The wrecks floated without purpose like the bones of giants left to rot in the dark. Among these dead machines, a single pilot traveled. His name was Elias. He was young, but his eyes carried the weight of hardship. His small fighter was not built for glory. It was old, patched with scrap metal. Its engines groaned each time he pushed them. Still, Elias moved through the wrecks with care, scanning, searching, hoping for something more than empty hulls. His people had nothing left. Humanity was scattered across the stars, broken after losing wars against alien empires. Most humans were workers, slaves, or wanderers. Elias had grown up hearing stories of the old fleets, mighty human warships that once shook the heavens. But those were only legends now, all destroyed, all forgotten. Yet as he drifted deeper into the graveyard, his console blinked, a weak signal pulsed in the darkness. It was not random static. It was steady, like a heartbeat. Elias frowned, his breath caught in his chest. No ship here should be alive. No voice should still call. He followed the signal, weaving past shattered cruisers and fractured carriers. And then he saw it. A shape too large, too vast to believe. Before him drifted a warship unlike any other. Its hull scarred with burns. Its armor cracked, but its size was immense. Like a mountain floating in the void. Elias whispered to himself. A Titan. It was a human warship. One of the legendary giants built in the final days of humanity's golden age. Its name was half erased from the side, but the letters that remained were clear enough. Invictus. The distress beacon was faint, almost gone, but it pulsed again, like a dying breath refusing to fade. Elias hesitated, his mind filled with doubt. He was one man in a broken fighter. What could he possibly do? Yet something inside pushed him forward. This ship had waited centuries, and somehow it had chosen him to hear its cry. He docked with effort, the fighter latching onto one of the massive hangar bays. The doors groaned as if protesting, but they opened inside. Dust floated in weightless silence. Corridors stretched like veins through a dead body. His boots touched the deck. The air was stale but breathable. Each step echoed. Each sound felt too loud in the hollow belly of the warship. He turned on his lamp, lighting the walls. There were scorch marks, broken panels, signs of battles fought long ago. He moved deeper, guided by the faint pulse of the beacon. Suddenly, lights flickered, weak at first, then stronger. Strips of dull blue glowing along the walls. Elias froze, his heart raced. The ship was not dead. It was sleeping. He reached the central chamber, where the core of the ship rested. Massive cables ran like roots, and in the center was the command throne, dark and lifeless. But as he approached, the floor vibrated. A low hum filled the air. A voice crackled through the speakers, broken, almost whispering. Captain. Elias staggered back, his chest tight. The voice was mechanical, but it carried pain, it carried loneliness. System. Failing. Need help. The beacon had not been random. The ship itself had been calling, pleading to be saved. Elias placed his hand on the cold metal of the console, his voice trembling. I'm not your captain, but I hear you. The ship's hum grew louder. The lights along the chamber brightened faintly, as if his words mattered, as if the warship felt hope again. Outside, in the graveyard's shadows, something stirred. Alien scavenger ships had picked up the signal too. They began to close in, eager to strip the giant for parts. Elias did not yet know, but his choice to answer the cry of the derelict warship would change the fate of the galaxy. For the silent graveyard was about to awaken. The ship's cry, the silence of the graveyard, was broken by faint whispers of energy. The Invictus stirred, its core weak but alive. The giant warship, once feared across the stars, was no longer just a husk, it was breathing again. Elias stood in the central chamber, his hand still resting on the cracked console. The broken voice echoed again. Systems. Offline. Need. Captain? The ship was crying, not with words alone, but with a weight of centuries. It had waited so long in the dark. Forgotten, abandoned, his heart pounded. He had never been a soldier, never commanded more than his rusting fighter, yet here was a Titan asking for him, begging for him. He swallowed hard. I don't know if I can help, he whispered. But the console pulsed faintly under his hand. Lights flickered like tired eyes refusing to shut. Elias searched the chamber. Broken panels hung from walls, wires sparked faintly. Data screens cracked but not completely dark. A single line blinked across the main screen. Crew lost, engines dead, weapons locked, hope fading. He felt the words, not just read them. The ship was not just a machine, it remembered, it felt. He moved deeper into the corridors. The lamps along the walls flickered weakly as if guiding him. Ghostly images filled his mind. Flashes of battles, soldiers shouting, the thunder of cannons, and then silence. His breath shook. "You remember everything, don't you?" he said softly. The ship's hum answered like a faint nod. Before he could think further, his communicator beeped. Sensors on his small fighter had detected movement outside. Scavenger ships, alien raiders who fed on wrecks like vultures, were closing in through cracked windows of the warship. Elias saw faint lights in the distance, scavenger craft gliding like sharks. Hungry and ready, they had no respect for history, no care for who built or who died. They stripped everything for profit. The Invictus shuddered, its broken system struggling, threat. Approaching, weapons. "Locked," the voice whispered. Elias clenched his fists. He could run back to his fighter, escape, leave the warship to be torn apart. But the thought burned in his chest. This ship had called for him, and he had answered. He rushed back to the console. "Show me what you still have," he demanded. His voice stronger now, the screens blinked. Scattered reports appeared. 99% of weapons offline. 98% of engines offline, shields non-functional. But one message glowed. Main railgun, dormant. Still possible. Elias's eyes widened. A single weapon remained. One cannon as long as a city. Capable of piercing fleets, it had slept for centuries, waiting. "Can it fire?" he asked quickly. The ship's hum grew louder, weak but determined. "Power! Low. Risk. High. But yes." The scavenger ships were closer now. Their comms filled the air with cruel laughter. "Look what we found, a human wreck. We'll tear it apart. We'll sell the bones." Elias gritted his teeth, his voice sharp. "No, not while I'm here." He sat in the command throne, the metal cold beneath him. The console lit brighter, as if recognizing his choice. Systems whirred, the hum rose into a growl. "Ready," the ship whispered outside. The scavengers circled. Their beams cut into the armor. Sparks flew, they laughed, not knowing what was waking inside. Elias took a deep breath. "Then fire," the ship roared. Light burst from its spine. The ancient railgun came alive with thunder. The shot screamed through the void, ripping space itself. In one blinding instant, half the scavenger fleet vanished. Torn apart in silence, their wreckage spinning. The survivors panicked. Their laughter turned into fear. "Impossible, that ship is dead. How did it fire?" Elias felt the power surge through the throne. His chest heavy, his hands trembling, but he did not let go. He looked into the dark void and whispered, "You are not dead. You are Invictus," the ship hummed. Brighter now, almost like a heartbeat in sync with his own. For the first time in centuries, the warship felt alive. Not just because of power, but because it had found someone who would fight for it. Outside, the scavengers fled into the dark. But word would spread. Whispers would travel fast. Rumors of a human titan that had awakened in the graveyard. Elias leaned back in the throne, sweat dripping down his face, his voice soft but steady. "We are not done." "Not yet," the ship answered. "Captain, together, we rise." And in that moment, Elias knew his life was no longer his own. He had become something greater. The bond between man and machine had begun. The galaxy, still unaware, would soon feel the cry of the Invictus. Man and machine bond. The graveyard was quiet again. Wreckage drifted in silence. Broken scavenger ships spun without power, their fires fading into the dark. The Invictus stood like a mountain among ruins, its ancient railgun cooling, its hull scarred but alive. Elias sat in the command throne, his chest still heavy, his hands trembling. The weight of what just happened pressed on him. One shot, one weapon had destroyed a fleet. He had seen destruction before, but nothing like this. The ship spoke, its voice faint but warmer now. "Captain, systems. Stabilizing. Need. Repair." He leaned forward, his eyes on the cracked screens. "Don't call me captain, I'm no soldier," he whispered. The console pulsed softly like a gentle heartbeat. "You answered call. You stayed. You are captain." Elias closed his eyes. The words pierced deep. He had spent his life feeling small, a wanderer, a survivor, never a leader. But here was a warship, a titan, insisting he was more. He rose from the throne, his footsteps echoing across the chamber. He moved through the corridors again. The ship lit the path faintly. As though guiding him, he passed empty bunks, shattered armories, silent halls. In one room, he found a cracked screen still glowing weakly. It flickered with recordings, images of the crew, men and women in uniforms, laughing, shouting, fighting, their faces frozen in time, their last moments captured. He watched in silence, his throat tight. The crew had fought bravely. The ship had carried their memories. Every voice, every scream, still lived inside its circuits. The voice of the Invictus echoed softly. They left, but I... Remember, Elias touched the screen gently. You don't forget anything, do you? No, the ship answered. Alone. Too long. His heart ached. He saw not just metal and circuits, but loneliness. The kind he knew too well. The kind that ate at him through years of drifting. The ship was like him, abandoned, forgotten. Surviving on scraps of hope, he worked through the day, moving broken panels, reconnecting wires, salvaging from his own fighter. Every small piece he gave, the ship accepted. Screens brightened, doors responded. Life slowly returned to the giant. Hours passed, but he did not stop. Sweat dripped down his face, his hands were cut and bleeding. Yet he pressed on. The Invictus guided him, whispering directions. This cable. That circuit. Careful. When he faltered, the ship's voice softened. You can do this. He laughed bitterly. You sound more human than the aliens I've met outside. Deep sensors blinked. The ship showed him faint readings. Energy spikes in the distance, fleets moving. Not scavengers this time. Larger ships, organized they are. Coming, the Invictus warned, its tone low. Elias frowned, his hands tightening. They felt that shot, didn't they? They know you're awake. The ship hummed in agreement. Galaxy. Watches. Fear's return. Fear, yes, he thought. If one ship could destroy fleets, what would they believe if humanity returned in full strength? But he was only one man, and this was only one ship. He sat again in the throne, breathing slowly. The console glowed brighter than before. No longer cracked darkness, but faint blue light. A bond had formed. Not master and machine, but partners, both broken, both refusing to give up. The Invictus spoke again, softer, almost like a whisper in his ear. Together. We fight, Elias nodded, his voice steady. Then we'll show them. He spent the next hours running simulations, learning what systems still worked. The ship showed him hidden armories, sealed compartments with weapons untouched for centuries. It revealed maintenance drones still functional, scuttling out of the walls to help him. Slowly, the giant healed, not fully, but enough to stand taller, enough to roar again outside. The distant energy spikes grew stronger, fleets gathering, more than scavengers, more than raiders. Empires wanted to know the truth. Was the rumor real? Had a human titan truly returned? Elias watched the readings with calm eyes. The fear in his chest did not vanish, but the bond with the ship gave him strength. He was not alone anymore, the Invictus hummed, its tone almost proud. They come, but we are ready. Elias leaned back, a faint smile tugging at his lips. Let them come. They'll learn soon enough. In the graveyard, the silent giants drifted broken and dead. But at the center of it all, one ship glowed faintly. Alive again, bound to a single human who refused to run. And somewhere in the cold darkness, alien commanders listened to whispers, their voices uneasy. A human warship has awakened, they said. A ghost from the past, the galaxy, still blind, was about to open its eyes. First awakening, the graveyard was no longer silent. The ripples of the railgun shot had reached far, and now fleets moved. Engines burned across the void. Predators drawn by the cry of the Invictus. Elias stood at the command throne, his eyes fixed on the console. Faint warnings flashed across the screens. Multiple signatures approaching, the ship whispered. Its voice steady now, stronger than before. They come, he tightened his jaw. How many? 30. Maybe more. The Invictus answered. Alien ships soon appeared on the scanners. Long and sharp, built like blades meant to cut the dark. They belonged to the Krail. Scavenger lords turned conquerors. They hunted wrecks and worlds alike. Their comms crackled with laughter, voices sharp and cruel. So the rumor was true, a human relic lives. We will carve it apart and wear its bones. Elias said nothing, his eyes hard, his hand on the console. The ship pulsed faintly under his palm. The Krail fleet spread wide, dozens of cruisers surrounding the graveyard, their cannons glowing. The largest of them stepped forward, a battle barge twice the size of Elias's small fighter base. Its captain sneered. Abandoned ship, surrender yourself. We will take you apart piece by piece, the Invictus whispered. Permission to respond? Elias felt the weight of choice pressing on him. He was no soldier, but in his chest burned a fire older than fear. Show them, he said quietly. The warship stirred. Its engines coughed to life, their thunder shaking the wrecks nearby. Ancient reactors glowed with faint blue light. The graveyard trembled as the Titan began to awaken. Alien laughter turned to silence, then to shouts, "Impossible, it moves. The human ghost moves." The Krail fleet fired first. Beams of energy cut through the darkness, slamming against the Invictus's scarred hull. Sparks flew, metal burned, alarms rang, shields. "Offline," the ship warned, its voice shaking faintly. "Then fight without them," Elias growled. The warship answered, its weapons hummed. Smaller guns lit across its spine. Point defense cannons waking like angry eyes. Fire burst outward, tearing into the nearest cruisers. Explosions bloomed in silence, one by one. Ships fell, but more came. Dozens firing at once. The Invictus groaned, its armor cracking. The console sparked. Elias gritted his teeth, holding the throne as the giant shook. "Too many," the ship whispered. "We will fall," Elias's voice was steady. "Not yet." "Give me the railgun!" The ancient cannon hummed, its core charging, energy building like a storm. The Krill fleet panicked, comms filled with shouts. "It prepares to fire, stop it now." Every cruiser turned, every weapon aimed. Beams struck again and again, but the railgun lit with blinding light. "Fire," Elias ordered. The shot screamed into the dark, faster than sight, tearing through the battle barge, splitting it in half. Its core ignited. A sun exploded in the middle of the fleet. Wreckage scattered, shockwaves rippled, silence followed. Broken by the cries of the survivors, "Retreat, retreat. It cannot be killed." Ships fled into hyperspace, their lights vanishing one by one, leaving only wrecks and fire drifting in the graveyard. Elias leaned back in the throne, his chest heaving. The console dimmed, the ship's voice weak again. "Damage, heavy, but alive." He smiled faintly, though his body trembled. "You fought well." The Invictus hummed softly, almost like pride. "We fought. Together." Outside, the wrecks of Krail cruisers floated as proof. Dozens of ships destroyed by one human and one Titan. But far away in the halls of alien councils, whispers spread like fire. "A human warship lives. It destroyed an entire fleet. It cannot be allowed to rise again." Elias did not know yet, but his battle had lit a fire across the galaxy. Empires stirred, rulers feared, and armies began to gather. Inside the graveyard, the Invictus rested, its scars deeper now, but its heart beating stronger. Elias placed his hand once more on the console. "You're not alone anymore," he said, his voice soft. The ship pulsed faintly in return. "Nor are you, Captain." And for the first time in centuries, the giant did not feel abandoned, and the young pilot did not feel small. The galaxy had awakened to their bond, and soon it would tremble beneath it. Fear spreads across stars. The wreckage of the Krail fleet still burned in the graveyard. Twisted metal drifted like ash across the dark. The Invictus floated among it, scarred but proud, alive where it should have been silent. Elias sat in the command throne, his body weary but his eyes sharp. His hand rested on the console. The ship's faint hum echoed like a heartbeat beside his own. "They will return," he muttered, "stronger." "In greater numbers," the Invictus agreed, its voice low and steady. "Yes. They fear, and fear brings armies far away." Beyond the graveyard, alien councils gathered. Leaders of empires sat in shadowed chambers, their voices sharp. "The human relic has awakened," one hissed. "It destroyed an entire fleet of the Krail," another snarled. "One ship cannot threaten us," but an older voice answered, trembling with memory. "You were not there during the human wars. One ship can be enough. Do you not remember what their titans did?" The chamber grew silent, unease spreading like smoke back in the graveyard. Elias worked to repair more systems, guided by the ship's whispers. He moved through forgotten halls. Drones scuttled beside him, welding, carrying, fixing. In the archives, he found more logs. Fragments of the past, he played them. Flickering images filled the air. A human captain stood proud, his crew around him, their voices full of resolve. "Our orders are clear," the captain said. "Protect the civilians no matter the cost." The image blurred. Then screams, fire, the sound of weapons, and silence. Elias clenched his fists, the pieces fell together. "You vanished because you disobeyed," he whispered. The Invictus's voice was quiet. "Yes. Command ordered us to retreat. But we stayed. Saved thousands. They called it betrayal. Abandoned me." Elias's throat tightened. The ship had not been lost by chance. It had been condemned for mercy. He touched the console gently, his voice firm. "You did the right thing." The ship hummed softly. Like a sigh of relief after centuries outside, the galaxy churned. Fleets prepared. Councils whispered. Some wanted the warship destroyed. Others wanted it captured. All feared what it represented. On hidden channels, rumors spread like wildfire. Smugglers spoke of a Titan firing once and erasing fleets. Civilians whispered of humanity's return. Old songs of resistance rose again. Fear and hope traveled together. Elias sat in the throne again, his voice steady. They will come with everything they have. But we'll face them. The ship pulsed faintly. Together, always. Distant scanners blinked red. New signatures forming, larger than before. Hundreds this time, maybe thousands, the galaxy had decided. The human relic could not be allowed to live. Alien commanders gave orders. Bring every ship. Crush it before it grows stronger, let no trace remain. Yet inside the Invictus, the bond between man and machine deepened. Elias no longer felt small. The ship no longer felt abandoned. They were one and they would not bow, the Invictus whispered. Its voice no longer broken but proud. I am ready. Elias nodded. So am I. The stars outside flickered as fleets moved. The storm was coming and the galaxy trembled. The final upgrades. The graveyard shook with faint tremors as distant fleets prepared their march. Sensors showed signals like storm clouds gathering. Hundreds, maybe thousands of ships all aiming for the same target. Inside the Invictus, Elias worked tirelessly. Guided by the ship's soft voice, he dragged salvaged parts through corridors, reconnected ancient cables, and unlocked chambers sealed for centuries. The ship spoke stronger now, its tone no longer broken. Hidden systems remain. Forgotten weapons. Unfinished designs. We can finish them. Elias frowned, his hands greasy and cut. Show me. The floor panels shifted. The walls opened, revealing deep vaults of technology. Inside rested cores of glowing blue. Coiled rails larger than towers. Dormant cannons that had never been fired, his eyes widened. These are unfinished weapons. Yes, the ship whispered. The last captain ordered them sealed. Humanity had no time to complete them. But with you, we can... Elias's chest tightened. He realized this ship was not just powerful. It had been designed to become something greater. Something the galaxy had never seen. For days he worked without rest. Drones scuttled beside him, carrying coils, welding armor. Linking energy conduits, the ship guided him step by step, never letting him fall. When he faltered, the voice soothed him. You are not alone, his heart answered quietly. And neither are you. Deep within the core, Elias found the most dangerous secret. An immense rail system stretching through the entire length of the ship. Its coils layered with gravity fields. Its design clear, one shot could tear apart moons. One strike could crush fleets, he stared in awe. This is not a weapon, this is a nightmare. The ship's hum was steady. It was meant to end wars forever. Forbidden by command. Locked away. Elias clenched his fists. He felt the weight of the choice pressing on him. Unlocking this power would mark him as a threat to the entire galaxy, but keeping it sealed meant death, the Invictus whispered. Its tone softer now, almost afraid. If I awaken this weapon, will you leave me? Will you fear me too? Elias placed his hand on the glowing console, his voice steady. I will never leave you. You saved lives once, you can save them again. You are not a monster. Not to me. For a long moment the ship was silent. Then the lights pulsed brighter, stronger than ever before. Its hum grew deep and proud. Then together, we awaken. The core flared with blinding light. Energy surged through ancient veins. The warship trembled like a giant stretching after a long sleep. The hidden railgun roared to life, its coils glowing like a star outside. Wrecks in the graveyard shifted under the shock, drifting as if moved by the awakening. Elias stood in the command throne, his chest heaving, his eyes wide. He felt the power echo through his bones. This was no longer just a warship. It was becoming something beyond. Scanners blinked red again. Fleets moved closer. Thousands of ships now forming a wall across the stars. The alien coalition had arrived. United by fear, their comms filled the channels. Voices sharp. This relic must be destroyed. Humanity must remain broken. We will not allow their shadow to rise again, Elias listened. His hand firm on the console, his voice low but strong. Let them come, the Invictus answered. Its voice a storm now, no longer weak. We are ready. Captain, the alien armada spread across the horizon, a sea of lights. The largest force ever assembled against one ship. Their weapons glowed, their engines roared. Elias leaned forward in the throne, his heart steady, his voice calm. Let's show them what humanity really is. The Invictus pulsed like a living heart, its voice filled with fire. Together. Always. And with that vow the Titan stood ready, no longer a ghost, no longer abandoned, but reborn as the galaxy's ultimate weapon. The storm had come, and the graveyard of ships would soon become a battlefield of legends. the galaxy's ultimate weapon. The graveyard of ships lit with fire as the alien armada arrived. Thousands of cruisers, dreadnoughts, and carriers filled the horizon. Their engines burned like suns. Their weapons glowed like storms ready to strike. Elias sat in the command throne, his hand firm on the console. The Invictus pulsed beneath him, its hum no longer broken but steady, proud, alive. The comms filled with alien voices. "Human relics surrender, you cannot stand against us. Your time has ended." Elias's lips curved into a faint smile. His voice calm, "You will learn." The first volley came. Beams of energy, torpedoes of plasma, a wall of destruction tearing through the void. They struck the Invictus, armor groaned, metal screamed. The ship shook like thunder, damage heavy. The ship whispered, "But holding." "Then give it back to them," Elias said sharply. The Invictus roared. Smaller guns lit across its hull, firing in unison. Streams of light cut into the first wave of cruisers. Explosions bloomed in silence. Ships spun apart, but the armada pressed on. Wave after wave, endless. Elias clenched the throne, his breath heavy. "They won't stop. They'll burn the stars if they must." The ship's voice was strong. "Then we show them our true power." The core flared, the hidden railgun charged, its coils glowing brighter than suns. The entire graveyard trembled. Ancient wrecks shifted as gravity fields pulled them aside. The armada's comms erupted with panic. "It charges. Stop it. Stop it now." Their weapons fired in desperation, hundreds of beams striking the hull, but the Invictus endured, its heart burning. Elias whispered, his voice steady. "Fire!" The shot screamed into the dark, a beam of pure force. Brighter than lightning, faster than thought. It tore through the center of the armada, shattering carriers, splitting dreadnoughts. Entire lines vanished in one strike. Silence fell, broken only by cries of terror. It cannot be stopped. It is a god, a monster. But more ships pressed forward. Desperate, countless weapons unleashed. The Invictus shook, its armor breaking. Sparks rained in the command chamber. Elias's body slammed against the throne, pain burning through him. "Captain," the ship whispered, its voice softer. "You must survive. Eject." "Leave me." Elias gritted his teeth, blood on his lips. "No, we finish this together. You were abandoned once, never again." The ship's hum grew louder, as if his words gave it strength. Then together, the armada swarmed, thousands against one. The Invictus fought like a living storm. Cannons fired, missiles screamed, beams cut through ships one by one, every strike guided by Elias's hand, every response fueled by the ship's will. Wrecks filled the void. The armada broke, lines shattered, survivors fled. The galaxy's largest force turned to chaos. Elias leaned forward, sweat dripping, his voice sharp. One more, the railgun charged again, coils glowing with fury. The ship roared like thunder, and the second shot tore across the stars. A wave of destruction that erased what remained of the armada. Silence followed, heavy, endless. The graveyard floated in ruins, and at its heart the Invictus stood, scarred, broken, but victorious. Elias's chest heaved, his body weak, the console dimmed, but the ship's voice whispered gently, "We live." He closed his eyes, a faint smile on his lips. "Yes, we live across the galaxy." Whispers spread, fear turned into legend. One man and one ship had faced the greatest armada ever assembled, and won to alien rulers. It was a warning. Humanity was not gone. Its spirit lived, to the forgotten and the broken. It was hope, a story to tell in dark places, that even in silence, even in despair, humanity rises. The Invictus pulsed faintly, its voice soft. "Where now, Captain?" Elias gazed into the endless stars, his voice calm, steady. "Anywhere, everywhere. Let them wonder, let them fear, let them hope." The ship's engines roared, its hull glowing faintly like fire in the void. Together they vanished into hyperspace, leaving behind wrecks, silence, and a story the galaxy would never forget. The derelict warship was no longer a ghost. It was a promise, a legend reborn, the galaxy's ultimate weapon.